morning, everybody. Welcome to our morning drive this morning. Welcome to Djuma Game Reserve. A lovely crisp summer morning. I don't know why it's so crisp. Only other than maybe it's just clear blue skies. My name is Mark, and Brian is with me on camera today. Andrew is in final control. And I started the morning by following lion tracks from camp virtually. Looks like they're headed north, so I'm trying to short circuit the tracking process by going up onto the boundary, because I'm figuring they must have crossed the boundary at some point. If they did, keep on walking. There wasn't a sound of these cats all night, and judging by the tracks they passed camp this morning with a lot of vehicle tracks on top of them, I would say that not long after we left them, they probably started walking, and they probably crossed the boundary. We even had in terms of the way I think it might have gone. Didn't hear them at all, which means that if they were walking, and they were walking quietly, they were walking expecting to bump into something that they could then go into hunt mode with and attempt to kill or kill. The fact that there hasn't been any probably kill. Just a guess. Usual hyena tracks on the road. Seems to be always hyena tracks on this road. They must use it as a They might have also gone further west, in which case they would have crossed back onto the access road, the driveway that takes people, brings us into WildEarthTV, into the lodge, in which case they've maybe gone up to Sandy Patch. No doubt hear from the guys when they come out and drive, find out what these cats did after we left them and where they went. I'm sure they would have followed them on their night drive for some time after we left them. It is a beautiful morning. Somehow the cooler air makes things, it makes the light sharper, I think. Hey Brian, looking at this morning light, maybe what it is because this is the sun doesn't have to come through much of a dense, humid atmosphere early in the morning. So it's a lot brighter than the orange sun when there's a bit of smoke or mist. Right, on the boundary. Let's see where these cats went, if they came this way. Air brake, let's see. Welcome to Wild Earth. See how wild our Earth can be today. How wild is your Earth? Your piece of Earth. strolling along. No sign of cats. There's something in the road. I can't see it with my binoculars because it's just so bright looking into the sun. We'll get closer. There's definitely something in the road down there. Quite unusual that today is the day that the sun rises exactly perfectly down. We use this tree as shade. It's not as exciting as I thought. It's dung in the road. Elephant dung. But just hold that and you look down. You can see the spider silk. I don't know if you can pick it up a little bit. Quite a lot of spider silk crossing the road, but very fine gossamer strands. Only noticeable because the sun is at such an acute angle, or so straight behind it. There's a lion track. I'm looking at the road and they could be sitting next to us. Can't do too much of this driving into the sun. Most of the elephant dung I saw from far away, and that elephant can't be too far either. But we don't want to go to the east, we want to do the west side. Yeah, unusual that there's just one little set of tracks further back. A lot of elephant tracks crossing backwards and forwards. I hope we'll be able to find elephant this morning. eagle. Looks like it could be a tawny eagle. Get a bit close. Oh, he's gone already. Looping around to Djuma Dam, Zari Dam, and we're going to do another sweep to the west of where we left tracks this morning. Nice to find out where other things are moving around. An African sunrise. I can't think of any better way to wake up. Well, sometimes tropical beach might be nice, but as long as we can go diving the rest of the day. morning, Carolyn in Chicago. I thought we were all having very pensive moments there. Thanks for breaking that. Time to start talking. What are you shouting at, Rongo? Carolyn wants to know if I watched Tara's elephant encounter. I haven't yet. Keep meaning to, but I forget. The dongo's just in there, but it dived into that bush, and now there's a prinia or something that's just come out. Something in there that was troubling for the birds. Almost flew into the camera. No. Okay. False alarm, I guess. Carolyn, I will try and watch it at some point. I guess it should be on YouTube. Data. See, I think a photograph that I saw, there was one that was quite an amazing photograph, because he virtually had his tusk on the front of the vehicle, and then of course Tara sitting here, dwarfed by him. Morning, Kay. Interesting question. Why don't we have dust kicked up when we drive these? Well, it is, but the dust is behind us. You're going to see if we ever have to drive behind another vehicle, although we'll try and, I do try not to. But sometimes we come to a junction and a vehicle might have just come by, and then you can see the dust. But it's also been our summer months, and in summer a lot of the dust, the surface fine dust, gets washed away by the rains, and all that is left is a harder gravel, and it tends to be, especially when it is a little bit damp, it tends to be a lot denser and smoother. Interesting, because one of the male lions walked this way. Must have been the other Matimba that went back that way. Central roadway. Think about that later. He didn't come out last night when the rest of the crowd came down to the water. Only the one Matimba was there, so it looks like the other Matimba might have gone back this way at some point. As the dry season wears on, the dust picks up again. And then sometimes it becomes quite powdery, but nothing like the powdery dust you have in Botswana and Zambia, other parts of Africa where it's such a fine dust, up in Kenya too. But just the engine movement of the car, it's like talcum powder. It's so fine. And just the engine of a car stirs the dust. And then you'll have dust just coming in everywhere because it envelops you. It seems to find every little air vortex that it can, and it swirls around you as you move along. But we don't get such a fine powdery dust here. Huh. The water thing's starting again. Morning, Tim, from Arkansas. Average elevation here is around 350 meters. I'd say around 1,000 feet. Doesn't vary very much, as you can see. Some slowly undulating hills. I don't know if you can really see it. But like now, we're going to the top of the rise above the Djuma waterhole, above the dam. I suppose you can see it a little bit when you look at the dam camera when it comes back. And you can see it from there. Interesting, cats coming back down this way. That's the male. That must be one of the males. That one that crossed the dam wall must be his tracks here that are going down. Not much of a height difference, I suppose, from the top of the ridge here on Quarantine down to Gowrie Dam. I'd say is maybe 20 meters, 30 meters. If I had a topographical map, I'd be able to see contour or contour map. Well, interesting. One cat. One cat heading that way, to the east. Need to still ascertain where the rest of the cats went. A lot of tracks here up and down. You also notice that there's nothing on Quarantine. The wildebeest, zebra, and there were a few impala this morning. But they have vacated the open area mostly. Hello, Lynn. Toronto. Morning to you, Lynn. Why don't I wear sunglasses to protect my eyes? I should, but then I can't talk to you with sunglasses on, really. And I suppose that's not really polite. The other thing is that my eyes are not that great. There's the male coming back from, it must be the same male, coming up from Filament's dip. Or maybe another male. Tracks going down and then coming back up. So you know what these lions are doing? They sort of lie in an open area and they say, okay, it's your turn. And they send one cat down the road. Okay, so okay, go walk down that road, go walk up and down. And then a while later they'll say to another cat, okay, it's your turn, you go to that road and walk up and down. Confuse these guys. Meanwhile, they're sitting in a bush watching us. He might have been looking for the rest of the pride. We weren't talking. I guess the other thing about wearing sunglasses is that the sunglasses I do have are only single vision sunglasses, and I've got multi-vision, multifocals. I need multi-vision lenses. Morning, Savannah. In Savannah. Is that Savannah, Georgia, Savannah? Best time of day for me. Savannah wants to know the best time of day, morning or PM. I love the mornings because there's a greater unknown in the morning. I think waking up after a night's sleep, there's a new set of new stuff happening. Although there's often and there can be wonderful surprises in the afternoon that you didn't know about from the morning. I think the morning for its newness, the fact that it's a new day, the fact that I don't know, something about the morning. But on the other hand, I do love the afternoon. I love the end of the day. I love that whole time of day, of the day closing, and the end of, well, just the end of another day, the sounds that you get at the end of another day, the closing of the diurnal and the waking up of the nocturnal. And of course the sunset and the moon. Although I do appreciate the moon during the day, I don't always see it during the day, and so you don't really, it's hard to acknowledge it during the day. Morning, children. I suppose one of my favourite times of the day is the middle of the night on full moon, when the moon's high and there are very few shadows and the world's in a type of moonlit monochrome. Sitting with cats or elephants in the darkness, well, in the moonlight. I'm going to take my outer jacket off, it's time. Okay, let's move along. Still trying to find out where these cats finally ended up. They seem to be sorry to disturb you, little impala. Joel in Atlanta. Oh, he's still in Georgia. Joel was asking about when I see elephants, I greet them in another language. What language is it? What am I saying? Joel, it is Swahili. I don't know why I say hello in Swahili when I see elephants. Not like they know the difference between English and Swahili. Say Jumbo Buena Tembo if it's a big male. Kind of a, we just tell him it's the elephant, really. That's what it is. Jumbo Buena Tembo. Jumbo is hello. Buena is a term of respect for a mister. So finally, looks like after walking down several roads, like Gallagher Short, access roads. I thought we were on Gallagher. I didn't know. Yeah, which means they might have ended up Sydney's dad. The point is, it gives me a direction to drive in. The chances of us finding anything else borderline are the same anywhere we drive, but at least something to do while we're looking for other animals. Follow lion tracks as far as we can. Follow them. And Tembo is elephant. Sorry, distracted there for a minute. Jumbo Buena Tembo. If it's a female, I say Mama Tembo. But that actually means mother of the elephant, not Mrs. If your name is Mary and your daughter's name is Jane, then you're not called Mama Mary, you're called Mama Jane, mother of Jane. should be able to see the mountains, but now that I see there's a little bit more view to the west. These cats have left the road. I have to go back now. Still one or two on the road. We're back again. Looking now to the west, there is a little bit of a smoky layer on the horizon in the west. I thought we would see the mountains from here, but I can barely make them out. So there we go. Beautiful view though. Miles and miles of bush veld and animals and birds and elephants. Oh, Lynn in Toronto. If I could do a live safari anywhere, where would it be? Undoubtedly, I'd think Cairns. Well, no, now that I think of it, logistically it would be a little difficult in the Okavango, unless we were on a boat. But that can be a little bit limiting with all the papyrus. I think it would get a little boring sometimes, just miles and miles of papyrus-lined waterways, although there can be interesting things amongst it all. But yes, I think the Selous Game Reserve would have been a while ago, a long time ago. A while ago would have been probably top of the list. But since the elephant poaching has become so bad in Selous, and the elephants have been decimated there, it would be very hard, although it would be wonderful. But I think undoubtedly then it would be Ruaha National Park in Tanzania. Sarah. Morning, Sarah. California. What type of fish live in the dams? Mostly two species. Two types of fish. One of them is the catfish, we know as a barbel, but it's a species of catfish. And the other one is the Mozambique tilapia, which is also called bream in some parts of the world, as a freshwater bream. Looks like this lion went all the way to the gate. Valerie in Pennsylvania, have I ever had a herbivore walk up to me and touch me on a walking safari? No, Valerie. There's an eagle. If anything, it's quite the opposite, Valerie. As soon as they see you, they run away. Oh, it's gone. Don't even get time to get my binoculars out to see who it was. I have had a baby elephant walk up to me and nudge me, push me. Well, actually it was like more like a shove, kind of a go away. But that was extenuating circumstances, so that doesn't really count. I don't, you see, if we look at all the herbivores when we're out there and we have different herbivores in one place, you'll notice that very, very seldom, almost never, does one herbivore walk up to another animal of another species for whatever reason. Unless it's a predator approaching something because it wants to kill it and eat it. You'll have zebra and wildebeest and giraffe and impala, waterbuck sometimes all together. But there are very strict personal space boundaries. Big elephant is here. Cats have walked all the way to the gate. Because we're now almost at the gate of the Sabi Sands. The key will be from here that either back into the Sabi Sand to the left, in which case they went into Simbambili, or they went right, or maybe they went straight into Manolete. Actually, let's have a look. This is a crucial spot to look at, and it looks like they went that way to Sydney's Dam. So I'll show you the gate and do a big turnaround here. There's the Sabi Sand Gate, the entrance to the Sabi Sands. About a mile and a half from the lodge, or to the lodge from here. There's the sign. I don't know, have we ever seen the sign that comes into WildEarthTV and Djuma? This says no entry, but we're part of Djuma. We're just going to sneak past. This is the warden's house. Wardens and Sabi Sand staff. And yeah, their tracks are. So they finally did come up to Buffelshoek, but they went a roundabout way of doing it. And we'll turn around. We'll see if this is going to hold signal here first. Brian, then turn up please. Thanks. Radio, I hope signal's fine now. Looking at the dam. Well, somewhere in there are the cats. No, for definite. They walked west all the way to the gate and then turned north. Must have come around all these buildings here at the gate and headed somewhere into Buffelshoek or Manyaleti. I'll mention it to Texan, and I'll mention it to Aubrey, and they can follow up. We can continue our journey. How long? Yeah, but what's the question? Have I ever had to rescue you? What? Oh, caught in a snare. Gosh, how? I have, not me personally, but I have been party to it on a number of occasions. One of the worst was a wild dog. In my life I've known several animals who have been rescued from snares. The lioness in my youth, or younger days, when I was in my early 20s, I knew a lioness, a big lioness, who had been caught in a snare. And it cut so deep into her neck. You see, now I wonder why they didn't just come up here to Sydney's dam. Anyways, it had cut deep into her neck. By the time they found her, she was almost dead. That was in the southern Sabi Sand. But they cut the wire off, they sewed her up, pumped her with antibiotics. And she became known as Scar because when everything grew back, it was fine. Years later, and she was a strong, big, healthy girl. She used to be able to bring down wildebeest on her own, adult wildebeest. And she had 3 male cubs. Her sister killed one of them, I think. If I remember correctly. Strange circumstances. Watch those 2 young males grow up as well. Start making. There was a big leopard I knew as well. Years later, also here in the Sabi Sand, has also been caught in a snare. He had a very similar recovery, except he didn't have cubs. Well, he did make them, but he also, where the hair all grew black, it was a very thick black line with her as well. Very thick black line that looked like a collar, where the skin and hair started growing back. And the wild dog, well, that was very, very bad. Cut exceptionally deep into the neck, was septic. It was sad. But he was fine. Rhino with a snare on the leg. I once saw zebra with a snare on the leg, but there was no ways we couldn't find it after that. That is a big snake. Tracks of a really, really big snake. And we'll see it. It's in the shadow. If we go back, maybe we can see it. All you can really see from here is a smudge on the road. It's hard to make out. But having seen snakes on roads and then seen the tracks that they leave behind, I know that that is a big snake. It's probably the likes of a very large cobra, or most likely a giant black mamba. Lovers can't be complaining with us. Well, I'm glad we spent the time we did with this lion, because they're not going to be around for a few days. Maybe others will. Sorry, Andrew, go ahead. Maryland in Canada. Have I ever seen a white lion? I have, Maryland. At home. Timbavati white lions. I'm not too sure which prides have any white cubs at the moment. Or I know that there's a pride known as giraffe pride. The white lion I saw belonged to the giraffe pride. The jacaranda pride, the pride up near my house used to have white cubs. I remember there was a time when I was filming here when we were doing stuff here, around 2010, somewhere 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. There were white lion cubs at home. Actually, the pride killed a buffalo on our place, on our boundary one day. We don't often get kills because we're a very small area, and I don't have traversing on other properties. I can only traverse maybe about 500 acres that is home for me. And if you think sometimes lion can come, or animals can cross Djuma quickly, come and live in my place where it's a quarter of the size, or even smaller. Animals can cross that from one boundary, from the eastern side to the western side. They can cross it in a matter of minutes. Elephant even quicker. Which is why it's very special when I do have things happen at home. Just for for that moment that an animal is on Mansumvula, it's almost like a shared existence, I suppose, would be the best way to describe it. There's a kite that comes straight over, typical kite fashion. Got nothing for you. Too high. Yellow-billed kite, you don't see them too often. They get very bold, yellow-billed kites. And are known to scavenge around cities and villages. In the reserves in East Africa, picnic spots, they learn to scavenge from people having picnics. That's what I was looking for. That's a very small patch. It's small for Karula, but it must have been yesterday because there is an antlion. Oh, it's a tiny cat. Maybe it's a cub. Maybe it's Shadow and her cub. Interesting. I must just talk on the radio. Now that Ngala Nkonzo goes up Voya's access and ends up crossing into Buffelshoek at Sydney's Dam. Aubrey, come in. Also, I'm corners for one. My daughter crosses the dam wall and he goes up Central Road. And catching up. Aubrey's still driving around in circles on quarantine, looking to see where the lion went. Go away, fly. I'm not seeing these leopard tracks anymore. Just from yesterday, there were antlion holes in the leopard tracks. But I was laughing because Aubrey and Elvis were talking, and Elvis hasn't been out for a while, I suppose, because the landowners haven't been there. And Aubrey says, "How are you doing?" And Elvis says, "I'm jumping like a frog. Can't wait to find something. What have you got?" And Aubrey says, "Don't jump like a frog. There's no water here." And it's just that's funny in it, context. You had to be there. Jumping like a frog. Look, the data in the road. Bye, Deka. Deck away. Diving away. A little bit of bird that's a little bit agitated. Donna, morning Donna in Missouri. What is the most amazing event? Is that it that I've ever seen? I don't know. Call on me like that. I can't. It's hard to answer those. It takes time to think about it. Think about things. I don't know. Donna, you have to be more specific, I think. I don't know how it is possible to sort of select something over and above other things. Are we talking, I don't know, one moment? Are we talking time periods? Are we talking about I wonder who would be walking up and down here. Somebody looking at these leopard tracks, no doubt. Morning, Marge. Marge wants to know if I've ever had a snake. Hold on. I'm in a different world now. Have I ever had a snake curl up in the engine of my car for the warmth like you do in California with rattlesnakes in rattlesnake country? I have, but not for warmth, Marge. Funny enough, it was a very, very hot time of the year. It was just unfortunate, actually. But it was a python, it was a young python, climbed into my car. And ended up staying in my engine for a couple of days. I couldn't get it out. Even overnight, it wouldn't come out. It wasn't cold enough for it to need the warmth, that's for sure. But it eventually climbed out. I can't imagine it's very healthy for a snake in the engine, especially with the fan moving. Engine quite enough to cook a snake. But I suppose they would move away from the really hot bits if they could. You see, my Land Rover's engine is a very easy engine to get into and out of. I think modern cars would be a little bit more difficult. The engines are so much more compact and they're encased in all of this stuff. I wouldn't even know where to start with the modern day car engine compared to my very rather simple Land Rover engine. A couple of eagles. Oh, off he goes, juvenile. Could it have been? Yeah, I think so. No, it was a snake eagle, black-breasted snake eagle. Something else far much further back. Could be a Wahlberg's. Not sure, quite far away. I just felt a pressure change. I just popped my ears, and that's interesting. Change in atmospheric pressure. We're on Arathusa at the moment, by the way. Thought we'd have a look around Arathusa and see what's happening here. Try and catch up on the radio in a bit when I'm more central. amazing event. Let it. In the last year, Donna, most amazing event that I never thought I would witness in the last year. Bird going a little bit frantic. Testiculars that are can't see any of these birds, but we can certainly hear them. There's undoubtedly a predator here, but what it is, only the birds know. It could be something as small as a slender mongoose or a snake, or a pearl-spotted owl. Okay, so the most amazing event that I experienced. Oh, look, green pigeon. A whole bunch of green pigeons. Stay there, pigeons. Most are all flying away. Oh, another one. And flew away. Must be something here. Unless they're guarri. Sometimes the green pigeons collect up that when the guarris are fruiting, but I didn't think they were. Unless they've all got to do with those testiculars shouting. So I suppose the most amazing event that occurred, that I experienced, that I never thought I would this last year, was when that elephant put her holes in the side of the Land Rover here. I suppose that's probably one of them. Yeah, it's very hard to single out things. I suppose that might mean that there wasn't anything of that importance. What about you, Brian?
Quite a lot though, they've quite a few. Good early sightings. Yeah, it's tricky one.
Yeah. Morning, Keith in Brooklyn. Any chance we can go and look for the hyenas? Well, we can go past them. We're far away from them at the moment, Keith. We're on Arathusa at the moment. When we go back to Djuma, we can go past the den. But the best time for that is early morning or in the afternoon. And since we're not going to have lion to sit with this evening at sunset, I think maybe it's the right time to go and sit with hyenas. Don't you think so? Morning, Carol. Carol wants more insects, more specimens. I only got one or two more, and I'll save them for a rainy day. I should have collected more. I've got dozens at home. Next time I go home, I'll bring them. If it is the next time that I go home on leave and come back again, and then I'll bring them. But just finding insects, the whole insect world is coming to an end now. Not an end, but the activity is slowing down. Insect activity, mostly moths and things, kind of grasshoppers and crickets still, but hard to find specimens now. They should have collected them when they were in profusion during the rains. Saved them for show and tell. But I will, if I see anything, of course, it's not easy looking for insects. Normally I can find the odd thing that stands out, as you've noticed, when you drive by and I just suddenly see something. But generally, it's not easy to see when my focus is on the roads and on trying to find animals. So my focus isn't close by where I'm likely to find an insect. Focus is generally a lot further away. Looking through the trees, in trees, on termite mounds. It's like I'd love to find more reptiles. But they too very shy. European beet are just flew by. There he is. Pretty. It's gone. Thursday. Down a bit. I don't expect the European bee eaters will be here much longer. Start March, I think they'll start collecting and heading back to Europe. Much moving today, is there? You must know what that's all about. Monkeys, a Canadian magnetic monkey, Tammy. He decided to stay here with his Uncle Mark instead of going back to Canada in November. I just thought it would be big male leopard been here. I'm sure the guys must have followed him. Oh, eagles. Morning, Arathusa. Herons, hippos, hotels. Let's move up a little bit, we'll be able to see those jacanas. Hello Jeffrey, Texas wants to know if there are any programs that monitor or tag migratory birds. There are, Jeffrey. I think a number of different species of birds are ringed. I'm not even sure where you would find information, I don't know. I guess any of the ornithological societies maybe. Why don't the hippo eat the floating stuff? Mostly because hippos are grazers. They prefer grass. I don't think this Ludwigia is very palatable actually. Probably not. And we're on the way to the airstrip now. We want to go to the airstrip, that's where we're heading. And then we'll go back to Djuma, I think, afterwards. Onto this road. I didn't know. Hello. I just realized there's one thing. What species of Ludwigia was that moss here? I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'll have to look it up. Little yellow flower. Hal wants to know if the marula seeds, they need fire to be released. No, not marula. I don't think there are many plants here that require fire. Hal, down in the Cape, I'd say the majority of species of plants for that Cape Floral Kingdom, the majority of them require fire. Proteas and leucodendrons and leucospermins and ericas. But the marulas here, it's a stone that encases the nuts, the cotyledon. Just needs to be buried, really. Sometimes they just start germinating when there's been enough rain. They just pop with the moisture. Morning, boys. See if we can catch up with those piglets if they're around. Jeffrey wants to know if we've ever seen Egyptian vultures. No. I think there was, if I remember correctly, years and years ago, there were reports of an Egyptian vulture that had been seen flying over. But I've never seen one at all. Excuse me, Flava. See how dry it is now compared to Hi, Mijad.
What's going on, Mijad?
Oh, morning. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm loose. I'm sure now move. Anything here on safari?
Trying to follow some
Okay.
I found that small.
Even this airstrip is pretty quiet. I don't like using the word quiet, but today it's quiet. It's quiet before the storm or what? Billy. How long is the airstrip? Now what's the largest plane that could land there? Very good question. Usually about 1200 meters, I would say, is the average, because normally they're just small Cessnas and anything under a 20-seater. I don't know what the largest plane is that has landed there. At the moment, the biggest plane that lands there is a Caravan, which is a Cessna. I think it's also known as what do they call the Caravan? I'm confusing it now. A 210, I think. couple of kudu just ran across the road with their calves. Two little ones, tiny little ones. So there is still an animal or two walking around. Maybe they've just all been abducted by aliens all of a sudden. Hello, Linda. Linda's in Ohio. Hello, Linda in Ohio. Sometimes I mention a song. Am I a music fan? What music do I listen to? My favorite artist? I do like music. I like cross-section of genres. I don't know if I have any single favorite musician or band, or I like stuff from the 70s, old classic rock. I like southern rock. You know, I like blues. I love jazz, smooth jazz, classic jazz. Oh, I had a mongoose shout at me, say, hello, what about us? You don't see us anymore. But are you going to stay there for us to see you, little mongoose? Or come back out and peer out and say hello out of one of these poles? There we go on the right hand side. Come out again. It's going to be almost high level. Let's see if this will work. I like the work of a South African guy who's Stevie Ray Vaughan, Dan Petlansky. Come out, wherever you are. I see one of them picking its head up there where I can hear babies in there. It's a little bit too grassy, I guess. And maybe we're a little too close. You hear the very high pitched, those are the babies. I often wake up to that at home when the local business of mongoose, a group of dwarf mongoose that live at home, and they come scratching around my house. And sometimes even come inside when the door's open. And if I'm sitting outside, they'll come and sniff my feet and lie next to me in the shade. I suppose similar to the way you had the meerkats, but not quite as friendly as the meerkats. I mean, I like some of the old bands from the 70s and 80s. Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Boston. I like Tony Bennett and the jazz side of things. Even, what's his name? Harry Connick Jr. is great. Joe Bonamassa. More modern jazz. Oh, antennas. Done a thing. Marianne. Have you ever seen cheetah on drive? We have, not this series though, not since we've been back here at Djuma in the last 3 months. There have been cheetahs sighted just off of Djuma, just to the north and to the east. And we're still waiting to find those cheetah coming on to Djuma. We're hoping that one day they will. It would be nice to see them. Thought I could find that flame lily, but without it flowering, I can't. Leaves have probably died back by now. Unfortunately, habitat for cheetah, well, let's put it this way, mate. Let me put it another way. The area that we have at Djuma doesn't quite have the right habitat to be attractive to cheetah for very long periods of time. Cheetah are well aware of Djuma, they're well aware of the property and the few little open patches of ground that there are, and the cheetah will use those as sort of corridors to get to more open plains elsewhere, because they are up in Manjaleti and other parts of the Sabi Sand, further south from here, further east from here, bigger open areas where cheetah can engage in their type of hunting they need to. And so the times that cheetah do come over to Djuma, they're just moving from one place to another. And it's at times like that that we might be lucky enough to see them. And normally, since we are quite conscious of tracks and we're quite conscious of how or where cheetah are elsewhere in the reserve, it always keep an ear open for when they might be crossing boundaries and things. See if my indicators even work. Picked up a tail. Fafa Safaris must be a pickup transfer company. did see cheetah tracks up on Impala Plains the one day. It seemed like maybe cheetah had come across the top end of the property from Buffelshoek and went through onto Simbambili. That's the closest we've come, I think. Are you gonna let us watch you, little mongoose? Try and get it that it's not covered by grasses, maybe a little forward. Okay. Guess we're lucky we got off the airstrip. Although that doesn't sound like it's coming in here, that plane. Much better view of a dwarf mongoose. Would have thought they'd be out foraging already by now. Hunting. Scratching around. Also babies here. Just seen a little, tiny little one tumbling down out of one of the holes. That hole behind the mongoose is almost shaped like the mongoose's head. Hello Tina. Tina notices how tall these termite mounds are, and this one has got to be a good maybe 12 feet. I mean it's got to be at least 20 feet in diameter. But this isn't an active termite mound anymore, but it was. In fact, the pinnacle probably would have reached a lot higher than that in its prime. And a mound like this, Tina, would take hundreds of years. It's a colony that has lasted centuries and centuries, in fact. Unfortunately, it looks like there could be the remnants of a colony in here. But with all these holes and with the mongoose living in it, it's most likely a dead termite mound. Now, the mound gets big because the pinnacle continually crumbles, and that clay then sort of gets incorporated into the base over time, and grasses start growing. In fact, if you have a look, this is a very specific species of grass that grows here on this termite mound. It doesn't grow off of the termite mounds, and so some of them can take centuries. Let's move along. Bye bye, children. Hello Rita in JHB Joburg. Hi Rita. How long are the drive's going on for? I'm not really sure. I'm not sure. I'm sure we'll know soon though. I'm sure we'll get an idea soon. Once the termite colony reaches a certain age or a certain size, the queen, I guess, is at her prime and she's producing, I don't know how many, thousands of eggs a day to maintain the workforce, because the workforce needs to maintain the termite mound. And it's almost as though, as well, with the queen, see, here's one that's still alive because there are no holes in it, there are no breaches in it. It's very well maintained on the outside, especially on the pinnacle. All closed up now. In the summer months during the rains, you see openings appear where they not only venting, but they then start releasing the reproductive cases. But sometimes if something gets into the termite mound, like an aardvark or pangolin, most likely an aardvark that's getting in there to eat termites, if the aardvark eats the queen, the colony can suffer quite severely, because the queen that can produce that amount of eggs is known as the primary queen. She is bred as a queen. She is made a queen from the beginning, and she was one of the original flying reproductives. And if she dies, the termites then have to produce another queen, which would become what we call a tertiary queen, a secondary queen. Tertiary, secondary, before tertiary. And the secondary queen isn't quite as big as a primary queen. She is not able to produce that amount of eggs that's able to sustain the colony or maintain the integrity of the termite mound to sustain the colony. And so the colony can suffer somewhat. And on very, very rare occasions, I'm led to believe, does it happen that the secondary queen is also eaten or dies, and so they need to reproduce another reproductive, tertiary queen. Now, how long the queen lives, I don't know. How they produce another queen when their primary queen dies, I don't know. Hello, Kudubu. Trot, trot, trot. Too hot to trot. tiny little gap to see him. Okay. Not going to get any better. Find the kudu and win the Datsun. Okay. It's going to be a bit awkward. Also, just remember we're speaking of only one species of termite here, and that's this pinnacle mound termite that make these big mounds. There are other termites that build different types of mounds, and the majority of termites don't even build mounds. Their colonies live either underground or in the dead wood. Just long tunnel, clay-lined tunnels. Bachelor herd of impala. This is the herd with the unicorn. There's only 3 of them here. Hello boys. Everyone's hiding from us today. Except the flies. If leopards could be like flies. Then have a quick look on Gary Main and see what there are traps wise. Hello hoopers. Where are you? There they go. No, that's not. Some in the marula tree and some on the right. Maybe they'll join up forces. Green woodpeckers, just not playing ball today. Previously known as red-billed woodpecker. Quite a lovely sound. Yeah, even better in the display when you get to see the display. Elephant has crossed over this way. How are you? Sorry? No, they've gone on to Buffelshoek. No, the one with Timber went up central. He crossed the Gary Dam and went up central. I didn't follow his tracks because I was following the others.
Okay, because you know the one crossed not far from here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then he must have come south then after he went east.
Yesterday he was on vessels, but it seems like he went to Bondo last night up Mala Mala and he came back.
A matimba. Wow.
I don't know if it's the one with the sore paw.
No, the one with the sore paw is the one that's been mating with one of the mafazis.
Oh, yeah, then it's the other one.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you find him.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye. Some elephant tracks of some youngsters crossing here. So that other matimba must have walked far. He went all the way down to Marlon, but he went looking for Birmingham or something. He went looking for trouble, I bet. Hello, Wendy. Wendy recalls seeing ostrich on drive. That could have only been with Tara, because I think Tara was the only one that saw them, if I'm not mistaken. I saw their tracks on a couple of occasions. Wendy is saying they're just not that common, just like cheetah, just in the wrong habitat. Very much so. The habitat for ostrich is pretty much the same as the requirements for cheetah. They need open grassland, open areas. So, to be honest, I don't think ostriches have been seen in this part of the world since those two ostrich were here, those years ago. Very fresh branches from elephant. Maybe we'll be lucky. Maybe they're at the dam. This group of ellies, or maybe on their way there still. Maybe. But quite fresh leaves. And the tracks are quite fresh too. Treehouse Dam is looking a little bit empty of elephants. Hello, Alice. Alice is in Minnesota. Will there be a fireside chat this weekend? Unfortunately, with only a crew of 3, we can't do fireside chats, because we need help to have the fire made, to have all the equipment set up. If we finish the drive, it would take us a little bit too long to get it all together. Actually, it wouldn't be easy. It wouldn't be very easy to do it at all with only 3 of us. Maybe not impossible, but just not very easy. It would be a bit of a mission. barely a ripple on the in both the water and the air. Barely anything stirring. It's starting to warm up though. We're going to follow the main direction of these elephants. They were here too. Looks like they're picking up some marulas. Still a few marula fruits falling. There's the one-horned impala. We're not going to give him a name. We're not going to get used to him. We're not going to do anything other than, oh, there's the one-horned impala, because one of these days he's going to be hanging in a tree because a leopard's going to catch him and we're going to feel sad. And if we look at the other impala and we can't distinguish them from each other, then we don't single them out, so that when they're hanging in a tree because a leopard's caught them, we don't feel bad. Our own unicorn. Our very own unicorn. Hello elephants, where are you? Maybe they're in the riverbed, digging again. Sounds like Kanyeni was seen in the east, and so was his father, Mbula. Mbula's seen it in Koro. Kanyeni was seen Chitwa, I think. Also on the quarantine. Interesting, big male tracks coming back, so maybe he came back. Went for a walk down south and then came back and then across the dam wall. That's what I think happened. I don't think he went across the dam wall and went that way east and then went all the way south. I think this is when he left yesterday to go south, because yesterday he wasn't with them. That makes more sense. Much more sense. I suppose, at the end of the day, I hope his tracks aren't too washed out from vehicles this afternoon, so we can go over there and follow up on that. Because what we can do is, of course, that's an area we haven't been to at all this morning, and it'll be going up towards Wiffelshoek Dam, and make a concerted effort to go and find some elephant there this afternoon. Everything's being a little bit elusive today. It's been a long time since I've seen a leopard with a kill in a tree, and even longer since I found drag marks. Leopard kill drag marks across the road. Actually, it's been a while since we found some viable leopard tracks to get excited about. Tracks that aren't driven over or walked on. So that means that somebody's been following them already. That tingling feeling when you get the tracks and the sand is still moving in the tracks. You know, it's so fresh that you're anticipating seeing it around every neck corner, even if it takes 2 days to do that. Always one step behind. Oh, Impala watching something. What are you watching, Impala boys? Other Impala boys. No fun. Could have been a leopard or an elephant or something. Thought maybe they were going to come down to drink. Nice heron. Poised to strike. Come on, Impala. And the monkeys too. We should go closer to that leadwood. We don't get to see monkeys too often. And then maybe we can see the Impala from there. Impala coming down to drink slowly. Let's go a little closer. I think it was Peggy asking the leopard not around because of the lion. Not really. The leopard can't really go anywhere. Leopard have territories that they... I guess to some extent, maybe. But I think it's just a case of these things. There are times when we see them, and there are times we don't. I don't think it has that much to do with the lion being here or not. Okay. Find the monkey. Wind. That's. What is that little one eating? I'm going to sit in the vehicle and have a fireside chat with candles. Yeah, right. Uh-oh. Somebody's approaching. I have to move rather fast. Might not see me coming around the corner. Maybe not a good idea to sit here. Alright, guys. Hey, Bill. Hi, everyone. How are you? Nice to see you again.
Are we on film?
You not, I am. You have to sign a release first.
Ah.
Oops. Back to monkeys. I thought one was eating a marula, but it wasn't. It was actually just a leaf. It was just playing with a leaf. It was a little one. Hope we can see them again. Or have they gone? Oh, look at that. That's quite cute, actually. Little ones. Youngsters. Both of them. Hello, baby children. I'm turning my head with that little one turning his head, and it's how you sort of there are only children here. I wonder where all the mums are. It's like this is the kindergarten, and there's no adult supervision at all. Otherwise, those mums would be coming to snatch up these babies so quickly. Aha. Some of the moms are coming back now. Hello, little one. This is probably one of the juvenile females that's coming back to the tree to come and look after the little ones. Because all of these babies in this tree are unsupervised at the moment. I can see another female coming from the back, but I suppose they feel safe leaving their little ones to play in this big leadwood. Hello Savannah, have I ever seen sawtooth catfish walking around after the water dries up? Not a sawtooth catfish. I don't think we get sawtooth catfish. We get broadhead catfish. Our catfish, yes, I have seen them actually walking around when the water gets too low for them to swim. There's one of the mothers coming to collect a child. I don't know, I'm not seeing her lactating, so maybe it's just an older sister coming. She's supposed to be babysitting and she wasn't here. I don't think she's a mother. She didn't look like she had, didn't look like she'd ever suckled. Very tender moments. Look at that, that's pretty. Pity about the leaves in the way, but copycat. Am I copying the monkey or is the monkey copying me? I can't scratch the back of my ear with my foot, child. I'm not copying you there. Sometimes 5 minutes of young monkey are worth driving around for an hour. What a jump. And if the stick broke, little one, then you would have found yourself flying. There's something biting him in the back of his ear. And those two having a wrestling match on a really precarious, starting to get nasty. One of them is going to scream any minute because they're starting to bite. And Big Sister's not breaking up the fight. Oh, now she is. Doing a little bit of disciplining. Till the child escapes her arms. Such bliss. Unbelievable skills at that age already. Crossing from the Leadwood into the Knobthorne. How to distract a boisterous monkey child? Start grooming it. Thank you. About the size of a, what, maybe a 3-4 month old kitten. They're little monkeys, these. As I said earlier, these are children, and moms must be off feeding somewhere else. Safe enough to leave the children to play in a leadwood without the fear of leopards and eagles. Some of the older children left behind, I can see at least 2 or 3 sub-adults that are probably just the caretakers, the caregivers, the minders, babysitters. Ah, there comes an adult. The children are trying to hide from it. There's a mum. I think that might be that one's mum. She's probably suckling now. If we only could see that. Maybe we can from the other side. If she's not going to move. Just see, before we say goodbye, just see if we can see that mama. Don't you dare. Neither one of you, don't you dare. Oh, there's another mom come to fetch her baby. Just directly above us, but they do have a habit, they're primates. They do have a habit of sitting directly above you and urinating and throwing feces at you. Jumping into the jackalberry now, above us. Don't you dare, little one. Mama doesn't want us to watch her suckle the baby. Look at those toes. It's like a human baby when it's drinking. Those the toes curl. Sheer bliss. Oh, it's not suckling. It's being groomed now. Sleeping. No, it must be. There must be another one that's being groomed. Try and change the angle again. No, it is her little one. Somehow still got its feet wrapped around her waist, but it's lying flat. Sheer bliss. The grooming process evidently releases endorphins in the brain, and it's such a pleasurable experience. It's why we have massages, and that's why supposedly going to the hairdresser, it's a pleasurable experience because of the likeness it has. It's similar to the grooming process, and it has the same effect on our brains too. Calming, relaxing, pleasurable. an eagle coming over. Little Wahlbergs by the looks of... No, it's not a Wahlbergs, looks like a... Looks like a Wahlbergs. That's why they're not really worried. Wahlbergs doesn't eat monkeys. Betty in Pennsylvania wants to know what these monkeys eat. They eat everything from berries, fruits, leaves, flowers, insects, grubs. Grubs are insects, I suppose. Birds' eggs. I'll raid bird nests for the eggs. Gum of some of the trees. Quite a varied diet, actually. I wonder why the oxpeckers have become so active all of a sudden. I think maybe something coming into the water, maybe buffalo, and they're rushing to get to the water before the animals do. Let's go a little bit around this leadwood. Have a look. With all the oxpeckers making noise, she seemed to be a little bit more protective. Impala still hesitating to come down to drink. I don't think the oxpeckers were the Impala's oxpeckers. Quite often we get a few things to watch at the end of drive if it's been a little quiet. Thanks for your input this morning, everybody. It's been great to be with you again, and I hope that we can have a wonderful afternoon this afternoon. Do join us again, 4 o'clock Central African time, and we will be trying a different area, trying to find some different things. From myself, Mark, and Brian on camera, with Andrew in final control, all of us here at Wild Earth. Bye-bye. Love you lots. My thumb. Proxy.